Hey friends, Jim here with Philly Fixed. I'm excited to have you here today. We're going to take a look at this new universal battery platform from a company called Ceenr. I think that's how you pronounce it. Ceenr, as in rhymes with
Wiener.
Wiener!
We are not wieners.
Their PDNation battery platform is what they've got here. And the idea is you have a universal battery pack, and then you have different brand plates to take the battery pack and put it on various tools. So I've got a Makita adapter plate here. You slide it onto the battery pack, and then you take the battery pack, you put it on your tool, and you're good to go. They're going to launch this on Indiegogo in mid-May of 2024, so not too long from now if you're watching this as a brand new video. But as of launch, they're going to support Makita, Dewalt, Milwaukee, Bosch, Craftsman, Porter Cable, Works, Black & Decker, and then Einhell, which if you're in the US, you might not be too familiar with Einhell. Einhell's a little more popular over in Europe, but that's what's going to be supported out of the gate. Now, Ceenr did send this stuff to me free of charge, so take that into consideration. But I can tell you that Torque Test Channel actually paid them to send some ahead of time. One thing they found out, they took this apart and it has Molicel 42 amp batteries in it, 42 amp current discharge batteries. And Ceenr also has contracts with Samsung and maybe LG, but they're using good cells in here. You've got a single row of 21700 cells and a 4 amp hour pack. That's what's available on launch. This thing uses USB-C power delivery 3.0 charging, so you don't have to buy a battery charger from Ceenr. You can use any USB-C charger. The best, fastest charging speed you're going to get is with a power delivery 3.0 charger. If you're not too familiar with USB stuff, we'll get into that in a little bit. But that's pretty cool. They're not locking you into a charger, a proprietary one, I should say, and then you're taking this one battery and using it on these brands. So I like the idea. We're going to see how it works. We're going to put this up against the OEM batteries from some of the brands here. And then we're going to take it apart, see what's going on inside, get into the nitty-gritty of charging and stuff like that. And we'll see if this is something that maybe you should consider when it launches. Let's get right into it. All right, so let's take a closer look here. So I've got my Makita adapter plate. You've got two like guide rail slots that go in here. Then you've got your contacts for your metal tabs. You actually have two battery power tabs, and then you do have two data communication tabs. Now, if you take these plates apart, depending on the brand, there's different circuitry going on. So like here, you've got the yellow tab that's present on, you know, every Makita battery. There's actually metal contacts there. So I don't know how much of the Makita like star protection they're trying to implement, but it's not just a dumb short between the two battery positive and negative terminals and the positive and negative terminals on the battery adapter. Another thing, if you notice, it's really not any different in size than a 5 amp hour Makita pack. So, you know, it's about the same height. It's even similar in length, all said and done. Obviously, this is more boxy and square, whereas the Makita has some protrusions for the screws and stuff like that, but really they're close in size. I don't know if you've ever used one of these generic battery adapters, but this right here is a Dewalt / Milwaukee to Makita adapter. And you know, by the time you put this thing on, then you have to take your Dewalt or Makita battery, or I'm sorry, Milwaukee battery, you put it on backwards. It's just a little clunky. You know, it's not too bad because this is a 3.0 battery, but it's a little clunky. And it works, but I don't know, it's not great. And the other thing about the generic adapter here is it doesn't even have this yellow section. It's just blank. So it's literally just shorting your two plus and minus terminals from the Milwaukee or the Dewalt battery to the Makita tool. So, you know, this at least has a little bit more going on, probably some better protection in there. If you want to take your plate off, there's a little button in the back here, and it slides in the opposite direction as, you know, you slide it this way, and then the whole thing slides this way on the tool. So that's your Makita. You've got the same, I've got Bosch, Dewalt, Milwaukee, and Craftsman here. So we're going to try all these side by side with the original manufacturer batteries and see how the performance compares. All right, we got the Craftsman CM CF820 3-speed impact driver. It's their top-of-the-line impact driver. We've got the 4 amp hour battery with 2 rows of 18650 cells. 4-inch deck screws. Here we go. We have the M18 Fuel Gen 4 impact driver. I've got the 3.0 high output battery on here, fully charged. This is similar in that it has a row of 21700 cells, obviously slightly different capacity than the 4.0, but this is the only single row 21700 that Milwaukee makes. All right, so I got a bunch of screws driven. They're all at about 3 inches within a 1/16 here, so it'll be a fair test. PDNation might just be a hair slower, but very close, I think. All right, let's try something a little more challenging, a little more torque. 10-inch headlock structural fasteners. You can see my board is level here, and so are my fasteners, so they're at the same height. And we'll try it with each of the batteries. All right, I have the Bosch Profactor drill, what they've dubbed the world's most powerful drill. We're going to try an Irwin 2 9/16 inch auger bit, self-feed auger bit. I'm trying to do tests where they're realistic, but, you know, human error or human variability makes a minimal difference. That's why I was doing the impact driver for the Milwaukee, and with the self-feed bit, I'm not going to push down because the screw pulls the bit into the wood. So we've got the Bosch 4 amp hour core 18 volt battery, fully charged. These are good batteries, 21700 cells, very comparable to the Ceenr. So got no fasteners, no knots over in this area, a little one here, so we'll avoid that. Here we go. All right, so it stalled out. By the way, do I have anti-kickback on? Yeah, so when anti-kickback turns on, it strobes and turns red. So in that case, it did not strobe or turn red, so it wasn't the anti-kickback turning on, it was actually the overload. So let's put this in speed 1, and we'll see how it does. We'll pop this off. I'll try the Ceenr pack. Again, there's no knots over here. The grain is pretty consistent. So as consistent as we can get on wood testing. We're going to try it in speed 2 again. Again, look for that strobe for the anti-kickback. Otherwise, it's actually going into overload protection. So here we go. See, no strobe, so it wasn't the kickback. Wasn't able to do it here either. It got about as far, no, that time it did. It got about as far as the other one did before it cut out, so we're going to do it the same way, go back into the same hole. Here we go. Pretty comparable, I would say. I mean, this is a little more subjective, a little harder to tell. But we'll start fresh with a hole over here and on speed 1, and then we'll go back to the other battery and you can be the judge. I was not able to observe really any difference there. All right, so we've got the Makita XDT19. We've got a 5 amp hour OEM battery fully charged. Let's see how this stacks up. right. All right, we've got the Dewalt DCD 998 Power Detect. It's not the Flex Volt Advantage, so we're not getting that in the mix. I have their 4 amp hour slim pack. Again, 21700 cells in a single row. This board, same board as before on the Bosch, but very consistent grain and no knots. So we'll go right here with the 4 amp hour Dewalt battery. Try speed 2, speed 1. PDNation battery. We're going to try right on speed 2 to start. I really don't think this will do speed 3. Didn't like that. We'll try speed 1. So just like the Bosch, I really, no discernible difference to me. So see what you think on video. Okay, so on the back of this thing, you have a USB-C port and you have a regular USB-A port. Now the USB-C port did have a cover like this, but I accidentally ripped it off. So don't worry about that. But obviously you have your 4-segment LED battery indicator. Now, I have my handy-dandy USB tester here. So we're going to plug this in. All right, so I want to see what charging protocols it supports, and this guy will tell us that. So it's going to scan. It's going to flicker a few times. So power delivery 3.0 at 47.25 watts. Apple, nothing too special. It's like a 12 watt charge rate. Not sure what BC 1.2 is, honestly. Samsung or Samsung, it supports the adaptive fast charging at 9 volts or 12 volts. A couple Huawei proprietary protocols there. And then Quick Charge 2.0 and Quick Charge 3.0 at 12 volts. Quick Charge 3.0 maxes out at 12 volts, so it's maxing that out. Power Delivery 3.0 at 47.25 watts should do almost any phone you're going to come across at maximum speed. So just for example, here, let's plug in my Samsung S21 Ultra. So it says super fast charging started. So that means it's giving my phone the maximum possible charging speed. This is an S21 Ultra, but that should work for, you know, the newer S22, 23 series, stuff like that. Will it charge something larger, like an HP Envy laptop? Okay, there we go. So now it's charging, and you can see it's giving the laptop just under 20 volts, 2 amps, and 40.2 watts, and the laptop battery is at 75%. All right, so this battery the Ceenr battery can charge a laptop that supports USB-C power delivery. Now, if I drained the laptop all the way down to 0%, it might give me a little more than 40 watts, because technically this thing's supposed to be able to do up to 47 and change. But pretty cool that this battery pack, you know, supports technologies that make it a pretty viable power bank on top of a power tool battery. All right, well, that's the Ceenr PDNation universal battery platform. I really like what they're doing here. I think, you know, they're using good quality components from what I could tell. You could see the performance compared to the OEM batteries. All good stuff. Got the Indiegogo platform link down in the description below. My name is Jim with Philly Fixed. God bless you guys. Please like and subscribe and do all the things. See you on the next one.
Hello, I'm Jim Davis.
I'm not a beautiful man or anything.